Welcome to Crafty Little Beach. This is Julie. Today I have a Dollar Tree DIY for you. Let's craft a bee themed tier tray using supplies from the Dollar Tree.
So to start with, I'm just going to use some of this Dollar Tree brown rope. This is like the 9.5 foot, and one of those little plastic cloches from the Dollar Tree. I thought that was the perfect size for a little honey beehive on top of our little tier tray. And I think it's going to be the perfect size. So this is pretty easy to make. It's just going to be some hot glue and rope. And I just start right in the middle, hot gluing it to the center. Once you get it good and glued down, you can start wrapping it around. Now, since it's kind of like a curved shape, you kind of have to hot glue a little bit as you go. The tension's really not going to keep it on there. And so once I get like the very beginning started, I just cover like, 3 or 4 rows and with hot glue and just wrap them around before the hot glue sets up. And then we're just going to keep doing that, wrapping all the way down. Whenever you do a rope project like this, it's going to take a lot more rope than you think it's going to need. So let me show you about how far one package goes. And then you can just kind of start a new one. You're not really going to be able to see the transition too much, but we're going to make it look like a little honey beehive. So we'll be able to hide any of that too. And so we're just going to kind of start right there where we stopped. If you put a little bit of hot glue there, it's going to keep your edges from fraying and kind of tidy that all up. I thought we could just, I don't want to make it like a traditional bee scap, with like the handle on top. I just wanted that simple honey beehive shape there. And then we can decorate this with some little bees. So that looks good. I'm not going to use the bottom or anything. We're just going to use that part. Once I get it all on there, I always like to use a lighter, kind of burn off any of the fuzzies on there. Give it a little bit of a cleaner appearance. And once I get it cleaned up, I just kind of want like to make an opening on there. And the easiest way to do that I found on the rope is just use a little paint. So I'm just using some black acrylic paint and just going to paint a circle right here, kind of about halfway up so you can kind of see it from your tier tray. And then we're going to decorate this with bees. I have some of those little wooden bees from the Dollar Tree. I have found that I only bought like maybe a couple of bags of those. This year, I really wish I would have stocked up because I have had a hard time trying to find any more. So I'm going to use every single one that I have left today. I wish I had more. They're so cute. They also have these like in the ladybugs as well. But I'm just going to attach them with hot glue, even though they do have sticker paper on there, just to make it a little bit sturdier. And maybe have a couple of them going in the hole and just kind of scatter them all over. They're super fun. They would probably be fairly easy to make with some half beads, but you're going to have to do some pretty good detail painting on those. So that is what it looks like with 4. I was thinking I probably need to use more. So I went and grabbed a couple more, and we're just going to add a few more to our little beehive. Maybe one right on top and maybe one on the side. I kind of like them to be a little bit off center there. And I think this is going to be a really great size for the top of our tier tray. Here is our little beehive. These are super easy to make and very cute. I've done like several versions of this. I've done like a large bee skept for my last bee tier tray, and then I've kind of done a smaller version with my bee coffee bar this year. So I wanted to do this tier tray because it's going to coordinate really well with my bee coffee bar. If you haven't seen that, I have a bee coffee bar and another bee DIY video where I did a lot of bee wall decor. Now check out, this is one of the new bee pieces that they have at the Dollar Tree. They have a ton of new bee pieces that they have just been getting in at my stores. But I thought we could take this and kind of make it look a little bit better. I'm just going to use a Target paint pen. This is yellow orange. And I'm going to kind of sketch that honeycomb pattern along the sides to kind of bring out that detail on that. It's kind of an unpainted like white ceramic finish on this. So I think it's kind of designed to be painted. They did do like a gold kind of stamp on the top of it, but I kind of wanted this to be yellow. I wanted to do like maybe like a softer yellow than what you would expect. I think this is called like sun bright yellow. And I just want to go all over that now, getting in between all the different little pieces of the honeycombs. And then before it dries, I'm just going to go in there with a wet wipe and kind of wipe off the excess paint, trying to get that yellow orange to kind of show through to give it a little bit more detail on the side. It didn't show through as much as I would like, but it was kind of a little bit of a subtle detail. And I think I am going to go ahead, and just leave it as a box like that with the ceramic top. The bee is super cute on there. And I kind of want to do a similar technique with that. It does have the gold stamping on there, but I do go in with my yellow orange and just kind of sketch out. It's a raised surface where the bee is, so it's pretty easy to color that in. And then I'm going to go over that with yellow as well. I thought about kind of making it two-tone with the white and the yellow, but I decided to make it all yellow. It's super cute. Just a little like trinket box. And wait till you see some of these items that I found at Dollar Tree. They are so cute. And the same thing, I am just going to wipe off the excess with a baby wipe, kind of revealing the gold finish. I found my yellow orange really didn't stand out too much on that, but more of the gold stamping that was on there kind of already did. But I'm just trying to remove as much yellow paint to let that shine through. I kind of want it to look like a mottled appearance, but I do want a little bit of yellow orange. So I do go back and add just a little bit more of that more orange color just to provide a little bit more contrast. And I think that looks pretty good. Little yellow honeycomb dish with a little golden bee on top. And I do like that color of like that gold stamping that's on there. We're going to use a lot of golds, a lot of yellows with these DIYs. But I think it turned out pretty cute and it was pretty easy to put together. The next DIY is this little Be Kind, Be Sweet, Be Humble wood box. It's one of those little light up boxes from the Dollar Tree. And I think these are new. I really liked this style. Some of them had some of the more like colorful bees and stuff on there, but I really kind of liked just the simple brown and white feel of this one. And I thought we could probably update it quickly with some color. So the easiest way to do that is just to use a paint pen. I'm using that same yellow orange color. And you know what? We're just going to kind of color this in a little bit. Like its body, its different stripes. I'm going to leave the wings like white and the legs and the head and everything like that as perfect. So just a very easy update on this. Just adding a little color to each side. And this is a nice tall piece. I think it's going to be good on the top tier. And it even lights up. So that's pretty cool. And I'm going to show you, we're going to go ahead and make all of these little bee DIYs. And then I'm going to show you how we put our tier tray together and other DIYs and finds for the kitchen as well. So I think that was very easy to put together. I really like this one. What do you guys think about this little bee box? I think it's so cute. Now, the next one's going to be super easy. Check out these new little jars. So it's kind of like an orange clear glass, but it has this adorable little metal bee on there, and it's tied on with twine, which I kind of like. I think you could use this for like a candle holder or something like that. I am going to make it just into a small vase. I always like to have like a little flower display or some kind of greenery on my tier tray. It really makes it look nice. And I think, for like a spring, a summer feel, I think it's going to be perfect. So I just kind of updated the bow on there with the twine just to kind of clean it up a little bit, make it a little bit shorter. And then these are the flowers we're going to use. They're just called wildflowers from the Dollar Tree, and they're just the small yellow ones. And I think like one bunch of these is going to be perfect to fill that up. It kind of just reminds me of like a honey pot. It's got that feel. It's kind of got the color of honey that the jar is as well. And so we're just going to simply cut off the flowers on this arrangement. I'm not going to include any of the leaves. I'm just kind of taking the top parts off of these. and just leaving the leaves on the stems. Now, I didn't really want something that was going to take away from the effect of the jar because it looks really cool, like floral foam or anything. But I kind of really needed this to stay together and kind of have some area where you could stand the plants up in there. So we're just going to use some Dollar Tree white sand. It's not going to take away from the design, but it kind of gives me something to hold these flowers in so they kind of won't be falling all over the place. So I'm just making sure they're all pushed down inside. It kind of gives you the stability of some floral foam, but you're not really going to have to see that in there. You're going to see that it's cool pattern on the side. So just a quick, easy tier tray DIY. And check out that adorable little honeybee charm on there. I was blown away by how many new bee items they have. He's so cute. And this is how it turned out. Okay, our next one. This is a stepping stone. Now, these are not very large. They have a couple different ones. There is this one that's bee kind, and then there's a girl gnome one as well. I think this one was a little bit cuter, so I picked this one up. Now, the colors are kind of rough on it. You know, it is a stepping stone, but it's not really large enough to use as a stepping stone. I think it's more suited to a tier tray size. So we're just going to update the color here using that same sun bright yellow for his little hat and the gnome body. I like the stamped concrete look, but I thought the colors on this were a little bit too distressed. And we could kind of use the same color that we've been using on the tier tray. I'm also going to update his little beard, make it look more white. Basically, any of the colors that I can get to on him pretty easily here. And it is stamped in there, so it kind of makes it easy to paint. Also, I thought maybe a very soft pink on his little nose to clean that up as well. Now, there is like a little bee on there, and so I do touch that up a little bit with just a black paint pen, trying to give it like maybe some stripes. Not real detailed. And then I thought, you know, he kind of needs like some bee stripes on his hat to kind of give him more of a bee look. He is holding like a little bee skep, but I thought stripes would make it look like, you know, kind of like that gnome we did on our last bee tier tray where we made the bee gnome. He had a nice bee striped hat, and it totally gives you that bee vibe. So they had the lines stamped on there. So I just went in there with a paint pen and just drew over the lines. Then I'm going to go back and fill that in to give you some bee stripes up here. I think that gave him a lot more character, made him super cute. I'm also going to go in and do like the brim of the hat and paint it the black color as well. Now, I thought it looked a little choppy. You know, you can kind of get that with a paint pen. So I do go back and kind of go over it with just some black acrylic and a small brush just to make him look even better, touch him up a little bit. And I think he turned out so cute. And you know what? He was just the perfect size to use on a tier tray. I also picked up some of these like in the starfish and seashell and stuff like that. I'll probably be using for a beach tier tray as well because I think they're much better suited to that. He kind of does stand on his side. He kind of wants to kind of lean to one side a little bit there with the flat part of the bottom on there, but I think it is super cute. And I think I can just lean him up against, like, you know, the pole in the middle of the tier tray, and he'll stand up on his own. Now, the next is a dollar spot find. This was from Target Dollar Spot. This beautiful little metallic gold bee, it was $5, which a little bit more than I would like to spend on this, but I think it was so pretty, and it was kind of one of my inspiration pieces for the whole tier tray. I want to kind of use this gold in some of the DIYs today. So we're not going to really do anything to him. We're just going to display him as is. Isn't he pretty? So that was from the Target Dollar Spot. Now we're going to do a candle DIY. Now, these candles are from the Dollar Tree. They look like honeycomb. They're so cute. They're like just the right color, and they have that great like honeycomb pattern all over. I thought we could do just a very simple rustic little base for the candle using one of these wood slices from the Dollar Tree. I thought I could combine like the wood slice and then some of, the little wood slice sticks that they have at the Crafter Square. If I can find like three of them that are relatively flat and about the same size, we can make a simple little stand for this. Since we've already got like the honeycomb and the candle, I'm not really going to do much of a bee theme with the candle holder, but I just kind of wanted it to look rustic, and I think that's going to look really good together. So those three look good. So just three of them for three little legs, and then we're just going to attach those on here with hot glue. And I love these little the wood slices from the Dollar Tree. I used to always have to pick those up at Dollar General. And you get two of those for $1.25. And check out this cute little candle holder. I love it. And we're just going to attach it with a little hot glue so it doesn't kind of like fall off all over the place. Maybe around the rim might work a little bit better. And if I had any extra of those little wood bees, I might add some to that as well, but I think it's really cute on its own. Our little honeycomb candle with a little DIY candle stand. Have you guys seen those candles? I don't remember seeing those like last year or the year before. I think they're so cute. They're perfect for a bee tier tray. I love the color on that one. Okay, y'all, this is my favorite Dollar Tree find, like probably ever. How cute is this little bird cage with the bees all over it? Can you believe this was only $1.25? Y'all are always asking me if I'm getting this at like Dollar Tree Plus or something like that, but we do not have those stores yet here in Florida where I live, and this was just $1.25. It's got like a little tab on there. It even opens and everything. The only thing I wasn't super crazy about is the colors, the black and like the brass color. So I thought we could use that little bee from the Target Dollar Spot inspiration and paint this like a metallic gold. So I did have some metallic gold spray paint, and I think that's going to be a really easy item to paint. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab the little bird cage and the spray paint, go outside and give it a quick spray, and look how pretty it turned out. I think it looks even better now, and I just really love it. Now, I don't really want to put like bees or anything like that inside, so I thought it would be really cute to kind of like use it as a display for like some greenery or something like that inside. So I think that's what we're going to do. So we can open it up to make it a little bit easier, but you can kind of just feed in from the side. And this is some new greenery that I found at the Dollar Tree. It says eucalyptus stem. Kind of has that like appearance of a boxwood, but very high quality greenery. Now, some of these kind of just pop off like that. And I think we're going to need most of this, probably all of it, to fill it all the way up. Now, some of it I still do kind of have to cut, and they do have a wire in there, so you're just going to have to either cut through that or kind of bend it to break them off. But if I can have like a bigger piece like that where more of the pieces stay together, I think that's going to work really well. I don't want like a long stem sticking out, so I do make sure that I kind of try to tidy it up a little bit. And kind of give me a starter piece glued down there. I am going to go in and just kind of cut all of these apart. I got another nice bunch here, and I think this looks really pretty in there. It's kind of subtle. It's not going to give you like a really loud piece like if you were to do like a yellow flower or something like that, but I think it coordinates with like the metallic gold really well. And I love this bird cage. I found a lot of this newbie DIY stuff at one of my larger Dollar Trees the other day. That big one used to be a Walgreens, and this was the first thing I found when I came in the store. How cute is this? I think the gold metallic paint just makes it look so much better. And I think it looks really cute with all the greenery inside. You guys are going to have to let me know in the comments below, have you guys seen this yet? I cannot believe it was $1.25. It's a really nice size as well. Okay, next DIY, I thought we would take one of these little like um hexagon shapes, little wood chunky signs and some honeycomb burlap from the Dollar Tree. We could do a cute little sign. This shape sign is like just the right size for a tier tray and it's nice and chunky. And we're just going to stain all the sides of this with some antique wax by Waverly. And it is on a tier tray, and so I'm also gonna stain like the back of it as well, just in case you can see it from the other side. So I'm just gonna remove the label on the back, give it a quick stain. Now on the front side of it, we are going to use the burlap, and this is really cute. It's one of their new bee designs. It is the honeycomb, and I thought it would be perfect for this shape. So we're just going to cut off a piece of this and we can cover the front of that sign. Just a fun texture and a really easy sign. So I'm just going to use a Sharpie to kind of draw on the back of it so I'll know exactly where to cut that out and just cut inside the lines. I'm just going to Mod Podge that on. This is not a real intricate shape, so I don't think we'll have much trouble with fraying with that, but I just put down a nice thick layer of Mod Podge all over the front of the sign and just lay the burlap on there. Isn't that cute? And they have like the honeycomb fabric and stuff like that, but I think the burlap is even cuter. So once I get it on there, I do go over the top of it with some more Mod Podge, sealing it down because, the Mod Podge doesn't necessarily want to stick to the wood. You're definitely going to have to go over the top as well. I do clear up any of the fraying on the sides just by trimming that up and giving it a good dry. Now, I thought the cutest thing would be to use some more of these little wood bees, and these are my last two. But I thought they would be the perfect decoration to finish off this little honeycomb. And it doesn't really matter where you put them. I'm just going to kind of scatter them, one here and one here. And I'm not going to add a word or anything to it. I think it is perfect as is. I love the texture of the burlap on there. And the stained wood sides look really cute as well. Aren't those bees cute? Were you able to find the little wood bees at your store? I really wanted more, and I have been to every single store, and I have not been able to find any more of these. They're so cute. But this is our little honeycomb sign DIY. Now check out these. They have some really cute bee signs. And this one is the Be Kind one. It is almost perfect. The only thing I'm not super crazy about on this one is that the edges are kind of like an unfinished wood. And so I thought we could kind of cover that up with some of that honeycomb fabric from the Dollar Tree. I love this and the colors look great together. I thought we could just kind of make a strip of fabric with that. I kind of want to get some straight cutting lines here too. So I'm just going to use my cutting mat and like my little Fisker roller to kind of give me a straight line here so we can kind of make a ribbon. Now they have like more than one kind of this honeycomb fabric at the Dollar Tree. The other one is like a little bit brighter and like it's a little bit larger. The print on there as well. And they also sell that in a strip already. So you might be able to find that as well. Once I get a straight line, I'm going to kind of just see how big I need this to be. And basically, I'm just going to cut enough of this where it will cover, the two sides and the top. There's really no need to cover the bottom of this one, but it's just going to give a fun little detail to an already really cute sign. They also have like a white sign like this that says "Be Humble." And I used that on my coffee bar. I did a bee coffee bar this year and it turned out super cute as well. So you'll have to check that one out too. And I thought about I had another one of those. I thought about using it for this tier tray as well, but I really kind of liked the yellow feel of this one. So I'm going to use some Mod Podge and just glue that all around the edges. Just a quick way to kind of, disguise that cheaper looking wood around the sides because the front of it is just perfect. There's no glitter or anything. I think the colors are perfect. I just wanted to do a quick little frame. Just, a way that you can take a Dollar Tree item and just make it a little bit better. Isn't that design so cute? And it's like a slatted wood on the front as well. It's not like a faux slatted, it's actually slatted. And I'm just going over the top of all sides with a little bit more Mod Podge to make sure everything is secure and trimming up any loose strings. And this is how it turned out. Isn't it cute? Here is our little bee kind. And I'm trying to use, this is kind of one of the yellows I'm trying to use a lot on these DIYs. I think it's so cute. And I think it looks great with that little honeycomb border. Okay, next DIY. This is another new find, I think. I've never seen this before at Dollar Tree. It is a little gold honeycomb candle holder. Now, it is already metallic gold, but it's kind of a different shade of gold than what we used on the bee and the bird cage and stuff like that. So I'm going to take it outside and give it a spray of spray paint as well. And look how it kind of changed the vibe of it. I really think it looks way more high end. So I'm just going to pop a Dollar Tree tea light in there. And I think this is so cute. I love how I had this and the little bee from the Target dollar spot, just for some gold accents. And I think this is so cute. I'm using a real candle in there, but you could do battery operated or even a votive candle. It's all basically going to fit. And a new DIY item. Look at this. This is one of those little wax warmers with that gold stamp bee on there. And it is white as well. So I thought we could do something similar to what we did to the little trinket box. So we're going to go in there with that sun bright yellow and a brush, and we're going to kind of go all over. I'm not really going to use this as a wax warmer. I thought instead we could kind of make this look like a honey pot. So I thought this was going to be just perfect. So using a brush so I can kind of get in all of the ridges there. You also have some of the little hole cutouts in the side as well. And then kind of wiping off the excess so that gold stamp kind of shows through on our bee like we did before. I get it all painted. I'm also going to go over the top of it with the yellow as well. But my plan is to try to fill that in with some faux honey. I know that a lot of people do the faux honey with the orange or brown tinted glue sticks, which I don't really have any of those. So I'm going to show you how I was able to kind of still make that work without those. So I'm just going to go in and just kind of start filling it up with hot glue. Now, there is a little bit of a reservoir there to, store the wax melt. So it does take quite a bit of hot glue to get this filled up. But every now and then, I'm just kind of pulling it out so it will kind of drip along the sides to kind of make it look like honey dripping over the sides of the honey pot. Now, when you're trying to get a thick layer of the glue like that, you're going to have to kind of let it set a little bit between coats to kind of let it dry up a little bit, but then you can go in and kind of fill it up a little bit more. So I'm trying to do the edges, and then I'm going to go in and fill it up with more hot glue and doing more little honey drips as I go around. And it's not going to be overflowing or anything like that. I just kind of want it to make it look as full as I can. I think that looks pretty good. So what I do is I kind of walk away from it just for a few minutes to let that start setting up. If you want to speed that up a little bit, you could always pop it in the fridge. It's going to make that dry. And then I thought we would just use some gold metallic paint. This is the gold metallic paint from Dollar General. It's super inexpensive, and I'm just using a brush and going over and painting the hot glue to give it that honey color. So we're going to have that gold accent, but we're also going to have that gold honey color against the yellow honey pot. And it did take a couple coats of this to kind of get it more of a bold color where you could really see it. I really don't want that translucence of the hot glue, but I'm using a tiny brush so I can kind of go around the edges and get those little drops that we went around the edges too. And I will have to touch it up a little bit with some yellow paint because it's kind of hard to kind of stick with just one color there when it's kind of leaking around the edges. And isn't that a cute little honey pot? This was so easy to DIY, and it was really fun to kind of do some faux honey on top. So once I get it all touched up, I think that looks pretty good. I think I have like the right amount of paint on there. And then, you're supposed to put like a candle inside. And so I am going to put a candle inside, but again, we're not going to be using this like as a wax warmer. It's just going to be kind of for decor. Isn't it cute? I love it with the little gold stamp bee on the front as well. And here's our little yellow honey pot. It does kind of have like a little dotted flying pattern on there as well, which is super cute. And I love the little honey. That's my favorite part. Okay, I wanted to do something fun for the top of the tier tray, and I just sometimes like to add a large piece. So I thought one of these little metal yardsticks from the Dollar Tree would be perfect. It's got a great size bee on there. The only challenge is trying to get this stake off there without mutilating it so much. So I'm trying to rock it back and forth. I notice it's really connected 2 points. And it does kind of rip a little bit of a hole in it by the time I could get it off, which was not ideal, but you know what? We're gonna work with it. I am gonna need to tie it to the tier tray as well, so I can always cover that up with twine. Now, the wings are like kind of a bright rainbow effect, and I want to tone them down a little bit, so I just use some of that gold acrylic. It's okay if some of the colors shine through, but I just didn't want it to be quite so bright. And then I'm just going to take some Dollar Tree twine and kind of wrap that around the body portion. I do want to kind of pull it down a little bit to kind of cover up a little hole boo-boo that we have right here in the middle. And that's going to serve two purposes: to cover that up and also tie it to the top of my tier tray. The tier tray we're decorating today is my wood 2-tier tray, and it's kind of got like an oval ring at the top. So I think we can just tie that up there, kind of make it look like he's flying away. And the other side is black, so I think that'll be super cute as well. And this is how he looks. I just kind of tied him to one side. The legs are kind of bendable as well if you need to work yours around whatever kind of tier tray you have, but I think he looks really cute right on top. What do you think? Okay, next DIY. I like to do like a mini pennant banner, and I found some great bee burlap fabric at the Dollar Tree. So I just took some twine. I kind of measured exactly how long I need that to go all the way around and gave myself some extra space. So kind of marking where I'm going to be tying that together. And then check out this burlap. They have these bees with the yellow and black. They also had like just a black print bee without the yellow. Oh my gosh, they're so cute. Now, I want to make like little pennant triangles with these. And the bee kind of naturally kind of already has that shape, but I want to do a mini pennant banner. So I'm definitely only going to be able to fit one in a little triangular piece, but you know what? I think we can make it work. So I just kind of start cutting around the bee. I cut it flat at the top and then kind of cut it down into a point like a little burlap pennant. Isn't that cute? It's okay if it frays a little bit. I kind of want that rustic look for this little mini pennant banner. And what we're going to do is we're going to hang this around the top tier of my tier tray. And this is going to be one of the finishing pieces for the tier tray. I have this and a couple other items left to do, and then we're going to move on to some more bee DIYs. You guys seem to really love the bee DIYs, so I thought I would make another large bee video. I've had 2 this year. I had like a lot of bee wall decor and then my bee coffee bar, and they were so much fun. So I think this is going to finish off like my kitchen area, because this is going to go so great. It's like in the same room as my coffee bar. So that's what 4 of them look like. You do kind of have to waste a little bit of the fabric. to be able to get like that right triangular shape on your bee, and then not like you kind of mess up the bees to the side of it. So I'm just kind of working up and down. And I don't really know at this point how many I'm gonna need, but I'm just gonna cut like just probably about 8 of them. And they don't have to be perfect. And a couple of them were a little bit bent, but I think that's gonna be okay. So I did a total of 8, and then I thought we could start kind of spacing these out. From where I'm gonna tie, I'm gonna just kind of start putting pieces maybe about 2 inches in. And I don't want these to be super close to each other. So I was thinking about 4 inches in between each one. And as you can see, I am just hot gluing that directly onto my twine. Super easy, but also, you're not going to be able to move it around side to side to even it out. So it is kind of important to measure each piece so you can get a relatively good fit. And we're just going to keep working along. This turned out so cute. I wanted to do like a different treatment kind of for the top and the bottom tier of this tier tray. And I had so much fun putting this together. And I'll take you through all the steps as well, because we're totally going to be staging that too. Whenever you're just gluing directly on there with your hot glue, you're going to have a little bit of mess. So I always clean that up really easily with my heat gun. And I ended up only using 6 of them. I guess I spaced them out a little further than I thought. But this is what I did. I just tied them around the tier. And I actually tried to make it where some of them were like a little higher than the others, all the way around the tier tray, and just a fun, cute little bee detail. This is the wood tier tray that we're DIYing today. Now, this is honeycomb satin ribbon, also from the Dollar Tree, a nice wide ribbon. And we're also going to use that. This is what we're going to use here along the bottom tier. Basically, I just cut a long enough piece to overlap slightly and kind of hot glued that to itself, tight enough where it would kind of stay on. And I think that's going to be another fun touch to this tier tray. Now we are going to stage this tier tray where I'm going to take you through and show you how I put it all together. And I always like to have a little filler
For my tier trays to make them look nice and full. So we're actually going to use some of the lamb's ear from Dollar Tree. I think this is so beautiful, and I'm so happy that I can find this at Dollar Tree now.
And let's get started on that bee tier tray. So I tied that little yardstick to the top. Like he's kind of flying. Here is our little DIY burlap pennant banner with the little bees on there as well, with the little honeycomb ribbon on the bottom. And we can start staging this. So here is our little DIY rope beehive covered in our little wood bees. We had that little honeycomb trinket dish. I think that's going to work well on top. I kind of want to balance it out, maybe a taller piece on each side. So here is that little light up Be Kind, Be Sweet, Be Humble box, and that little honey pot with a little bee charm that we filled with yellow flowers. And then we were going to use that lamb's ear as filler. I think it's a nice touch. It's kind of like a soft green, so it's not going to compete too much with the yellows. And on to the bottom tier. We have a little bit more room to work with down here, and we can start decorating it. Here is that little Be Kind stepping stone that we repainted. I think it looks super cute with a little bee stripe hat. And he's a nice background piece. And then that little gold bee that we got at the Target dollar spot, I was afraid you weren't going to be able to see it. So I'm going to kind of prop him up a little bit on some of that lamb's ear, so you can kind of see him a little bit better. And over to the side here is that little honeycomb candle where we made the little candle holder. It's so rustic and cute. Just a nice, subtle little bee touch. And my favorite piece, the little bee bird cage. I still can't believe that was only $1.25. It is so cute. And it looks great with the greenery inside. What do you guys think? Here is that little burlap honeycomb sign that we made with the little bees on front as well. we still have a little bit of room here. That Be Kind. This is a nice size for a tier tray. It fits nicely. It's got like a really good height. You can kind of layer it behind pieces like that for a fun background. And you could put some smaller pieces in front of it, like this little honeycomb candle holder as well. And just kind of move it around, make it all fit. And just a few more spaces left. We have our little honey pot that we made with the wax warmer with like the fake honey like dripping over the side. I will have to get some of those colored hot glue sticks because that would make that even easier. I've seen people use it, and then I don't know why I've never picked any of those up, but that would be good as well. And then we're just going to start filling in any of the areas that kind of need something with some more of that lamb's ear.
And just kind of putting it wherever I think it's needed. I really love these newer bee items they have at the Dollar Tree. I think they're so cute. And hopefully, you got lots of fun DIY ideas with this bee tier tray. I've actually done a total of 3 different bee tier trays. Definitely one of my favorites for sure. But look how cute this one turned out. I love the wood and I love the greenery. I think that's just another fun touch. But also the gold is kind of a surprise on there. But it really goes well with like the honey theme and the yellow gold that we have in there, which really reminds me of bees. But a really fun DIY to do. I love this tier tray. I actually got that tier tray at Bell's Outlet, I think, on clearance. And it is so fun to decorate.